Alright, so we're going to talk about arc length now, and your learning target is I can find the length of arcs in circles. So when we talk about arc length, what we're talking about is the curved distance between 2 points on a circle, okay? So if you look here, the arc length of this circle is AB. That's what we would be wanting to try to figure out, is what is the length of the distance between A, B. But it's just right along the circumference of the circle. So it's a portion of the circumference. And if we think about this, that's all a full circle. The arc length is given by the formula for the circumference. Remember, the formula for circumference is 2 pi r. 2 pi r. That'll tell you what the entire distance around a circle is. So if you were to find, just say the outside of a circle for just the arc length of a circle that was a semicircle, then you just divide this by 2. If you wanted just a quarter circle, you divide it by 4. And so we see it's kind of the same exact type of thing when we look at sector area, except we're not talking about area this time, we're talking about circumference. Okay, so to find the formula for finding the length of an arc is given by the formula L, which is the length of the arc, is equal to our circumference formula, 2 pi r, times the degree in measure, arc measure degree, divided by 360 degrees, because that's... So let's do a couple examples here. In the first example, we're given a diagram, we're given a picture, and it says find the length of the arc. That means we need to find this bolded portion here, the length of that arc, and we want to round our answers to the nearest tenth if we need to. So I'm going to go ahead and just remind us real quick of the formula, 2 pi radius times m degrees divided by 360 degrees. And then all we have to do really is just plug in the pieces of information that we know and solve. And so really the only geometrical portion of this is just understanding the picture of the circle, and then applying it to this formula, and then after that it's just algebra. That's all it is, okay? So we've got, we just have to fill in the pieces of information here. We know 2 and pi are constants. The radius is 13 yards. Times the measure degree, which is 300, divided by 360. Okay, and we could go through this and we could kind of reduce things a little bit more, right? We could reduce 300 over 360 if we wanted to. But really at this point, all we really need to do is just put this into the calculator. We've got 2 pi times our radius, which is 13, times 300 divided by 360. Press and enter. We end up seeing that the length of the arc is 68.1. 68.1. And we cannot forget, though, we're still talking about this circumference, so it's still a measurement, and so we have to label it. And the units that we're using is yards for this situation here. So we have 68.1 yards. Alright, example 2, it says find the length of an arc whose radius is 7 miles and whose arc measure is 60 degrees, and round your answers to the nearest tenth. So it's the same type of thing. Remember, our formula for the length of an arc, which is what we're trying to find, is 2 times pi times radius times m divided by 360. The only thing that's different here is that we don't have a visual. We cannot see the circle, and if you wanted to, you could actually draw out a diagram that would be somewhat what this would look like, right? But we don't necessarily need to do that. All we have to do is just plug in the pieces of information that we know, and we can solve. So we know our radius. Our radius is 7 miles. And we know the angle measure of the arc is 60 degrees. So times 60 divided by 360. And we can solve this now using our calculator by just putting in those numbers, right? So we've got 2 pi times our radius of 7 times 60 divided by 360. Press enter and we see we get 7.3. 7.3. So the length of the arc for this one is 7.3 miles. Okay, and that's all we really need to do. So essentially, this is the important part. In order to what your learning target said, in order to find the length of arcs and circles, you have to be able to plug in the pieces of information that are given to you and solve. So you need to kind of remember that formula. Just remember, arc length uses the circumference times the measure of the degrees divided by 360. The sector area uses the area of a circle, pi r squared, times the measure of the arc divided by 360.